And welcome to episode 5 of the Intro to Economics Crash Course with Lucas over here on the Analyzing Economics with Lucas channel. Today, we are going to be talking specifically about the government and the economy. That said, let's make this short and sweet and dive right in. So, why do governments intervene? You might be asking this question since, if you think about it, well, over the long term, if markets basically regulate themselves and either go back up to equilibrium or go back down to equilibrium, well, why do governments intervene? It's a great question that I personally ponder, that I've done research on myself, and why a lot of other economists have dived into this. So, free markets themselves don't always produce fair or efficient outcomes. And the reason why is because free markets produce based on private benefit and private cost, not social benefit and social cost that are based on externalities, which we will dive into later. So governments step in to the situations in markets to correct market failures like monopolies, pollution, or public goods. Now, they also provide safety nets in terms of unemployment benefits, food stamps, or even minimum wage laws. So governments will themselves, through government regulation, set price floors, price ceiling. So there are two main ways that governments intervene. Moving forward here, diving into taxes and spending. Well, governments themselves, they raise money through taxes and spend it on things such as defense, education, healthcare, and more. And what taxes do is it'll make society produce at a lower quantity and a higher price than what it normally would at the socially optimal equilibrium, which in return causes deadweight loss, which is the removal of socially optimal outcomes due to people not willing to pay that higher price. That said, fiscal policy, what it is it refers to how governments use spending and taxes to simply influence the economy. So, debates around taxation often boil down to fairness versus efficiency in current markets. Moving forward here, talking about regulation and the Fed. Well, government agencies regulate markets to protect consumers and workers, such as the FDA and OSHA do this themselves. So the Federal Reserve, it uses monetary policy to influence interest rates and inflation. And it does this to ensure that society is not declining rapidly and it's maintaining its constant appeal. So policy decisions do happen to have ripple effects across the entire economy. And also, didn't want to interject this about government regulation, starting back to our previous discussion. What government intervention does in the short term, well, it might remedy stuff, it might fix things, but over the long term, what it does is it creates more inefficiency. That said, that is the end of this episode where we talk about regulation, externalities, stuff like that. Please tune into the next episode, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe if you found this interesting, and thank you for watching Analyzing Economics with Lucas.